So now it's Florida State week or hate week. And Florida State, at one point after a few games, I thought they might be the worst team in the conference. They were playing like it for a few weeks. They gained a little traction against some pretty marginal teams. They got going against Syracuse. It's actually turned out to be pretty good. If you look at what Syracuse put out on the field, they lost their first 3 ACC games, but they were taking Wake Forest to overtime. They were taking Clemson to the last play of the game. They've turned out to be pretty good. They beat Boston College a couple of weeks ago, won a couple ACC games. Florida State lost to Louisville, couple score game there. They got it turned around again against Syracuse and North Carolina. The UMass game, anybody's going to beat UMass. And now here they've taken it on the chin the last couple weekends against Clemson and by 2 touchdowns against, of course, an NC State team that Miami beat 31-30 at home. So what do you see when you look at, besides hate, what do you see when you look at the Florida State crew?
I see a team that's not going to lay down. I see a team that's going to fight you. I see a team that has a front seven that can line up against some of the better offensive lines and give them a very big problem. I see a team that has 2 quarterbacks that may not be elite, but the way that they use them as a 2 QB system, they could really bring a problem. They don't really have elite problems at wide receiver, but the way that they use them can create an issue for any program that they line up against. Their head coach, Mike Norvell, is a very good coach. He has some holes on his staff, especially defensively, which has resulted in them being in more shootouts than probably desired, in their opinion. But a team that's not going to lay down, man. They went on national TV, and when they played Notre Dame, you thought that this going to be a game. Okay, of course, that night was the Bobby Bowden night, and then the energy while you watch that game, as much as you have disdain in your heart, especially I do, for that program. I root nothing but the absolute worst for them. You, of course, respect Bobby Bowden, and on that night, they went out and played with the spirit of a Bobby Bowden team. And you saw that. Now, Notre Dame turned out to be down this season, and you kind of watched 2 top 40 programs go at it as opposed to what we thought Notre Dame to be, which was a top 15 team at the worst. And, Notre Dame, I don't even know if they're ranked anymore. Are they, Mark?
Oh, yeah. They're in the top 10.
Okay. Well, that night, they both look like really
They're
bad
not playing that well. So they're not playing that well. They're beating teams by 1 score, not very good teams, but they're racking up the wins. Yep.
Right. So they played well. Like I said, again, I have nothing in my heart positive for them, but when you look at them, you have to look at them objectively. And when I turn on that football team, I see a team. I turn on that film, I see a team that can easily beat Miami's ass if we don't show up. It's just that simple. You go into that game thinking you're hot stuff, and this team sucks, and they're not good enough. They will embarrass you, and they will ruin whatever you had going on, and then they're going to bring salvage to their program and to what they've been doing, and all of that trash talk between the head coaches is going to come to a head. Okay, you're going to have to meet in the 50 and shake hands. You might want to meet at the 50 and shake hands with the W after all that trash talk you've been saying, Manny Diaz, about fake momentum and people not, he's new to this and all that kind of stuff you were saying in the offseason. You might want to show up and get things done. And the way your team spends some quarters asleep, we cannot have that happen. The third quarter has been really bad for Miami. Even though these last 3 games, Pittsburgh put up 21 unanswered in the third quarter to get back into that game. Georgia Tech scored majority of their touchdowns in the third quarter. Okay.
So if that's
Folsom is a Tallahassee fan, he have more positive to say about Tallahassee than he has about Miami. Woo, man! I tell you, Mark, tough crowd, huh?
Has this individual? Who do we have here, David? So David, I don't know. Hope you join us on a regular basis. I don't recognize your name there, but you've not been really paying attention. So
Wow,
it's
man.
one thing for the wholesome one to come on here, and obviously he's got disdain for this program. There's no question. This has been stated a million times, both on this channel and I'm sure on your channel a number of times. But when he watches the tape, then he's got to make an honest evaluation. So he just gave you the good and the bad of an honest evaluation, taking away the rivalry glasses and just saying, I'm going to evaluate this football team. That's what he just did. It has nothing to do with his feelings for Florida State.
It is what it is, man. It just caught me off guard. I was in the
Yeah.
middle of really going in, but that was just, and for all I know, he could be a troll that was just waiting to see, because
Yeah.
a lot of the people on my channel, they've come out and said that we say things because we know that when you read it, you're going to respond. So it has to be outlandish for us to get you to respond. So I was like, all right, cool. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But anyway, the reason why you have to take this game very seriously. Now, historically, this game used to be held to such an accord. I mean, the way a lot of people look at Bama LSU, the way that people, because I mean, I don't know what the big rivalry game this year was, because yes, that game was a lot closer than a lot of us thought, but it wasn't revered as much as it usually is, especially on the 10-year anniversary of the
Yeah.
game of the millennia. You know what I'm saying? And this game used to have top 50 picks on both sides, and legendary coaches, and college football Hall of Famers, and just a great game.
Yeah.
And due to both programs having a big downward spiral, this game is now it's a noon and a 3:30 kickoff that no one's really paying attention to, besides the fans of the program. I mean, you got to think you could have been in South Dakota, you could be in Wyoming, wherever. You knew you were about to watch some of the best talent and some future NFL guys every time these two teams got together, and it used to have national championship implications, and now it just has local rival and recruiting implications. So I'll finish it up with this on this game. I do think that the University of Miami, if there's one thing I can say positive about Manny Diaz, he is going to show up for this game. He is. In his time here, excluding the 2016 loss, the best games Miami has played defensively against these people in Tallahassee. In 2016, I mean, we ended up losing it by 1 point with a blocked extra point. 2017, we break the streak, and we ended up only giving up 24 points in that game. I mean, if we give up 24 points this upcoming Saturday, we're going to win the game. Okay, because that would also be somewhat of a new seasonal low, because Miami has been averaging giving up 30 points the last 3 weeks. Even in wins, we've been giving up 30 points each week. Okay, you also look at the fact that in 2018 they started out with this big. I mean, they came out attacking us, and they were up 27-3 at the halftime, and Miami won 28-27. We blanked them. They didn't even pass the 50. In 2019, Miami dominated to a certain extent. Tallahassee did score, but Miami, we ended up winning that game. Off the top of my head, I want to say 24-10, something like that. It was actually like a
27-10 is what I
yeah,
remember.
something like that. Convincing win, but it was also the Greg Rousseau coming out show. And this game has come down to offensive and defensive line, but majority the Miami defensive line against the Tallahassee offensive line. In the last couple of times Miami has won this game and dominated this game is when one of the Miami Hurricanes defensive ends goes off and dominates this game. In 2019, it was Greg Rousseau. In 2020, it was Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche and Nestor Silvera, all having big time plays in this game against Tallahassee. This year, I think it's also going to be somewhat of the same. I'm going to have a co-defensive MVPs. My two defensive MVPs will be Jafari Harvey and Zach McLeod. I think they're both going to have 1.5 or 2 sacks apiece, and I think they're going to dominate this Tallahassee offensive line. I have the Miami Hurricanes coming out with a win, a predicted win, y'all. First time in like a month. Second time, because I expected us to beat Georgia Tech by more. But I have Miami coming out with a win of 35, 35-21 Miami. 35-21 Miami. I think we're going to be 14 points better than them. I think they're going to get a garbage touchdown and bring it within 2 touchdowns there. But I got 35-21 Miami.
Give my picks on Patreon, including Florida State, Miami. So well over 60% against the spread. So check that out. All right. We do have a super chat here. And I did want to mention, since I pointed out David Settle's comment, that was the comment about you talking of Florida State and not Miami. David says that he's subscribed and he supports and all that, just that the wholesome one is talking down on Miami too much or something like that. So everybody's got their opinion, but David, we appreciate you being here.
It's all good. God bless, man.
So MDB 3000 says, we've seen what flag ceiling is. Why not try Troutman, Brooks, Smith in the middle? And is Avery Huff a lost cause at this point?
I'm going to just tell you this, family. I do not understand what's going on at linebacker. It's when we observe from afar, there's certain things that we can infer. Okay, but it just doesn't make any sense, bro. Okay, it just doesn't make any sense what we're seeing when it comes to this linebacker issue, man. I think that Troutman is kind of a couple months, maybe year away from really seeing the football field for us. Troutman is number 19. He's a reserve linebacker, 3-star recruit who signed with us this offseason, which is cool. I mean, I didn't think it was up to par, but that's just that. Okay. Then you also look at Avery Huff was the last blue chip linebacker that signed with Miami. He doesn't play. He only plays special teams. And they always say, he doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't know the playbook. Doesn't know the playbook. Okay, when somebody's been here for 2.5 years, them not knowing the playbook when it's been the same defense, okay, at first you might say it's on the young man. I get that. Cool, no problem. But after a while, and you still keep writing that full ride $58,000 check for him to be here and for him to wear your uniform, and we don't work on trying to help him get better at this, eventually we got to start looking within ourselves and say, what can we do to help him? Because he's way too talented to not be contributing to this team out on the football field on defensive downs. That's all I'm saying when it comes to Avery Huff. Who else did he bring up? Brooks, I don't know. I don't listen to Coach Diaz's pressers anymore. I can't do it. So when it comes to linebacker, again, we have 3 different linebackers coaches who all 3 different teach different things to our young men. And again, I don't believe that Avery Huff is a lost cause. I just don't think it's a good mix with what's going on right now.
David Settles, thank you so much. Appreciate that super chat contribution. So hopefully all is good. You know, you've got your opinion. Again, the wholesome one is here just to tell the truth and give his perspective on Miami football. And if you really take it all in, he's extremely fair to compliment the good and to review and criticize the negative, the bad, the underperforming. So it's all very fair and insightful, and he certainly does his homework. And you'll get a better perspective on that if you head on over to the Wholesome Ones channel, HOLSUM and the number 1. So check it out and subscribe there as well. But David Settles, thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. All right. Miami wins 35-21 according to the Wholesome One to move on to 6-4. Okay.
And Mark, I think that's even number 1. Thank you for having my back. I appreciate that. But think about what this does. Okay, think about what this does. Miami can become bowl eligible while simultaneously making Tallahassee bowl ineligible because we will be their 7th loss and it will be Miami's 6th win.
Yep.
So either way, this is a big time game. Again, this is a big game. It may not have national implications. We'll find out tonight because I think Miami could honestly vow for being the 25th ranked team in the country right now. I know we didn't have any style points, but the people that they had ranked last week, we beat both of them, and one of them just was in a close game. So I mean, then you had Wake Forest that lost too. So a couple ranked teams went down. So maybe Miami goes into this game ranked 24 or 25, or maybe they don't. Don't bother me much. But this game used to be a top 10 matchup. And now again, it's two unranked teams, but it's a lot of pride on that football field. And that's why I'm saying I give credit to them. I do. Because they have shown the last couple of weeks they are going to fight you. They're gonna fight you. And I'm not a Tallahassee coverage, so of course I'm gonna be even more critical of what happens with Miami because I am a Miami media member. I'm gonna cover the team. I know these players. Okay, I've studied these players, so I'm gonna be a little bit more critical of them because those are the people who I know, who I study. But when I spend a week preparing for this upcoming game, there's a lot of stuff that we watch going up into this game that if we don't pull together, they are going to come out and we're going to end up being in a dogfight in which that we shouldn't be in because we are the better team. We have the better QB. We have a very explosive offense. Okay, I expect our running game to be second to our passing game because their defensive backs not the best. If Miami is able to really hold off to the pass protection and really make sure that this pass rush doesn't get to the QB, Tyler Van Dyke could have another career game where he has his fifth 300-yard game back to back to back to back. He couldn't even creep into the 400-yard and 4 touchdown realm, which I think he will. Because I know for a fact that Will Mallory and whoever the running backs is, they're going to be kind of pass protection guys. We're going to be a 4 wide team this week, I believe. At least I hope. I hope they don't go out and try to prove that we're the bigger man and we're going to run the ball down your throat. There's no need to do that. They have a deficiency at communication in the secondary. We don't have to test our testosterone. Let's line up. Let's dial it up. Let's hit them over the top and let's cue the band, baby. And I think Miami does that enough to go on to a nice 14-point win up in Tallahassee.